The Office is not a workplace comedy. Yes, it takes place in an office. Yes, it features workplace hijinks, paper sales, and corporate mergers. But to categorize The Office as merely a workplace sitcom is to fundamentally misunderstand what makes it revolutionary. And I'm not just talking about the talking heads. In The Office, what starts as a workplace mockumentary gradually transforms into something else entirely, a family drama disguised in fluorescent lighting.
Look, Kevin, we are a family here.
To understand this transformation, we need to look at how these two genres traditionally function. Workplace comedies thrive on professional distance. The awkward mandatory meetings, the forced small talk by the water cooler, the polite smiles masking office politics. The humor comes from the artificial nature of throwing strangers together and forcing them to cooperate. Think of early episodes focused on Dwight's sales competition, or Michael's desperate attempts at team building, or Jim's elaborate pranks. These are classic workplace comedy setups, built on the inherent tension between professional obligation and personal annoyance. Family comedies, on the other hand, mine humor from the opposite dynamic, the impossibility of escape, the weight of shared history, the way irritation and love become inseparable over time. And if you watch The Office from beginning to end, you can see the humor gradually shifting from one genre to the other. Take the evolution of Jim and Dwight's relationship. It begins as pure workplace comedy, the overachiever versus the slacker, separated by a desk and unified only by mutual antagonism. But by the series' end, their dynamic has transformed into something more akin to squabbling brothers. When Dwight makes Jim his best man by the end of the show, it's funny not because they're unsuitable co-workers, but because they become family despite themselves. The shift is also evident even in how the show handles its romantic relationships. Early episodes treat office romance as taboo. Jim and Pam's flirtation is built on stolen glances and secret conversations, while Dwight and Angela meet in shadows like corporate Romeo and Juliet. But as the series progresses, these relationships stop being about workplace propriety and start dealing with classic family sitcom issues. Marriage, children, work-life balance, the challenges of building a life together.
I'm in love with you.
What?
Even the show's signature cringe humor evolves. In early seasons, Michael's inappropriate behavior is uncomfortable because he's violating workplace boundaries. But by later seasons, his faux pas become more akin to those awkward family moments we all endure. The embarrassing parent, the uncle who says the wrong thing at Thanksgiving. When Michael shows up at Pam's art show, though, the scene works not because he's an awkward boss, but because he's become a surrogate father figure, showing up when her real family doesn't. This evolution reaches its apex in episodes that take place outside the office, most famously The Dinner Party, an episode that brilliantly demonstrates the show's genre transformation, and a fan favorite.
Okay, rhymes with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No rhyming!
That's
really a rhyme.
Okay.
Another clue.
Okay, he's the governor of California. He is the Terminator.
Those aren't helpful.
Tom Cruise!
Here we're not just watching coworkers uncomfortably socialize after hours. We're watching what happens when workplace dynamics fully transform into family dynamics, creating 22 minutes of exquisite domestic horror that only works because these characters have evolved beyond their professional relationships. The episode works on multiple family comedy levels. Michael and Jan and their toxic codependence become the embodiment of those parents everyone dreads visiting, the ones who clearly shouldn't be together, but insist on performing domestic bliss. Their passive-aggressive sniping over Jan's candle business, their uncomfortable dinner table tension, and their eventual explosive fight mirror countless family sitcom tropes about dysfunctional parents.
That is a $200 plasma screen TV that you just killed. Good luck.
Jim and Pam, meanwhile, aren't just trapped co-workers. They're the adult children desperately trying to escape family dinner, complete with invented excuses and failed escape attempts. Their knowing glances to the camera aren't just fourth wall breaks anymore. They're the universal looks of grown children silently communicating, "How do we get out of this?" across the dinner table. Even Dwight showing up uninvited with his former babysitter/date plays like the awkward cousin crashing a family gathering.
broke down and bought myself a plasma TV. Check it out. I actually hung this on the wall.
The genius of this episode lies in how it takes the show's workplace dynamics and completely recontextualizes them with domestic space. When Jan dances to Hunter's CD, when Michael shows off his tiny plasma, when the police finally arrive. These moments work not because they're workplace comedy beats, but because they're family sitcom moments pushed to their darkly funny extreme.
One of your friends here?
Michael can come home with me. Jim, ma'am?
Oh, my apartment's on fire. Flooded.
By the time Michael ends up with Holly, after the inevitable NBC Will They Won't They dance, the show has completed its genre transformation. Their romance isn't played for workplace awkwardness like earlier office relationships. It's presented as inevitable, two pieces of the same puzzle finally finding each other. When corporate forces Holly's transfer to Nashua, it's not handled like a workplace separation. Instead, it's filmed like a family being torn apart, with Michael's heartbreak played entirely straight. The documentary crew, usually positioned to capture comedic moments, lingers on his pain. The scene where he helps Holly pack her car, trying to stretch their final moments together, isn't mining humor from workplace romance gone wrong. It's showing us the kind of genuine loss that family sitcoms tackle when exploring themes of separation and growth. It's this that even makes Michael turn on David Wallace.
And this is where I ask you to marry me.
Holly's return and their eventual engagement feels earned precisely because the show has moved so far from its workplace comedy roots. Their reunion isn't about office romance or workplace propriety. It's about family in the purest form. Two people who speak the same love language of terrible jokes and unfiltered emotion, finally getting their timing right. When Michael decides to leave Dunder Mifflin to build a life with Holly, it's the kind of decision that can only exist in a family narrative, choosing between the family that raised you and the family you need to build for yourself.
Holly Flack, marrying me will you be?
Your wife be coming.
The series finale cements this evolution. When everyone returns for Dwight's wedding, they're not coming back as former co-workers, they're returning as family. The documentary crew's presence no longer feels like a workplace examination, but like someone chronicling a family, capturing the kind of moments that end up in well-worn photo albums and holiday slideshows.
Michael. I can't believe you came. That's what you said.
This is why Michael Scott was right all along, not just in the way he intended. His desperate attempts to force familial bonds in early seasons were classic workplace comedy fodder. But as the years pass, as relationships deepen, as lives intertwine beyond the boundaries of quarterly reports and sales meetings, something genuine emerged. The office stopped being about the workplace and became about the family that grew there, proving that sometimes the best families are the ones we accidentally create while we're busy making other plans. In the end, The Office pulled off something remarkable. It didn't just tell a story about a workplace becoming a family. It literally transformed from one genre to another before our eyes. And like any good family story, it made us laugh not because the people involved were stuck together by professional obligation, but because well after those obligations ended, they still chose to be together. Thanks again for watching, and thanks to our sponsor of this week's video, Buzztown. Are you ready to break into Hollywood on your own terms, even if you don't live in LA or New York? Buzztown is where serious screenwriters become working professionals. Inside this private community, you'll learn how to write bulletproof screenplays that demand attention, create a personal brand that opens doors, attach talent to your projects without agents, build an audience of fans who champion your work, and much more. As of this recording, Buzztown only invites 8 to 10 new members each month, but you can join the wait list where you'll get an invite to live group calls, where you can connect with industry pros and even have one-on-one consultations with pro writing coaches. If you're ready to transform your screenwriting career, click the link in the description to join the waitlist today. We'll see you next week with a brand new video.